evening. Hello, welcome everybody to this special live stream on in this special month, the month of June 2024. This month is been set aside. We have dedicated all the faith conversations of this month for for the fathers. For the fathers, this is the month that we celebrate fathers. So this is the month we want to. It's not something. It's not a common thing that we get to have men come and discuss and talk about themselves. So this month we are going to be talking about fathers in different dimensions, their struggles, their joy, and some of them are going to be sharing nuggets, tips on how fatherhood can actually be done better, and it can be fun. It can be fun for those that might be going through. I'm super thrilled to have all of you to join us as we dive into this profound and transformative journey of fatherhood. Today, we will be exploring how becoming a father, how it's reshaped the identity of men, and bringing it to with a unique blend of challenges and joys that they have experienced. So, and to do this with me today, I'm going to be inviting two fathers that I know that they will do justice to this. They will be vulnerable to share their opinion, to share their thoughts, their journey, and how they are still navigating fatherhood. So I have with me these two people that are very, 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 very close to me, and but I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. But both of them, apart from being fathers and brothers to some people and husbands to their wives, they are pastors. So we are going to see how they navigate fatherhood. So please, the floor is yours. I don't know who wants to start first by, introducing yourself to the people on the live stream.
All
See,
right.
looking at themselves, so nobody wants to tell the car. Who is starting? Please now.
Okay. I'm starting now, and I just want to say thank you for having me. Uh, as it says on on your screen, my name is Bosun Okusanya. By the grace and mercies of God, I I serve as an assistant pastor in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, where I worship. Uh, City of His Grace Parish, somewhere in Kent, Northfleet in Kent. Thank you for having me. It's my greatest pleasure to be here tonight and to be able to share my experience. Yes, I'm quite young as a father. Some 19 years ago, I became one. So I
And we are
really
actually
appreciate.
going to get to that point. You are going to tell us how many years experience that you have in fatherhood.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank
So
you for having me. Thank you.
you're welcome, and it's we are privileged to have you. Come to honor this invite. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. So can we have the
Okay,
introduction of your brother now?
my name is Sam Olanrewaju. I worship at a parish of LCCG called the Triumphant Saints Assembly in Urith. I happen to be the under shepherd there, and I am a father, but I think I'm more than a father, which I will talk about in the course of the program. Thank you. My pleasure being here.
So thank you both for joining and for that introduction. Yes, I'm going to start by, because I want, before we start discussing, I want people that will be watching this, maybe they are watching now or they're going to be joining us later, that are going to be watching this. I want them to actually know you from your background. If you want to share with us, If you can recall, what kind of childhood would you say you had with your father? So maybe I will ask Pastor Bosun to start, then Pastor Sam.
Thank you so much. It was a very good one, as far as I can recall. Though my father was on the quiet side, unlike myself, seeing myself growing up. And I think it's a decision I made over the years, growing up with my dad. He's quiet. You really hear him say much. Anywhere, anywhere you found him, you really see him say much. But those were the things growing up I
So, how
saw
was
from
your
my
own
dad.
experience? How would you
So,
describe your
ma'am?
own experience with him? Okay, what can you remember that? Okay, these are the tangible things, because I know generation to change the generation, fatherhood is being redefined, is changing, and we want to be able to trace that journey from when you were young, how it is now, and definitely it's going to, we expect that it's going to be better and we will have improved version for the next generation. So what what was your experience like with your dad, that you will say, okay, this is my this is my recall of what fatherhood was from a childhood experience with your dad?
Um, like I mentioned earlier, my experience was quite good. One thing I know about my dad is a provider. He goes all out to make his children happy. I mean, I remember, you never know how much it costs to be a father. I remember during Christmas,
Mm,
I mean, there's this particular kind of suit, ready made, colorful one that we always bring home for
mm,
us as his children. For me personally, I enjoyed those moments. And I
mm,
could equally recall if he doesn't have the time to take us to the shoe shop, he'll, he'll take a measurement of our feet, and there we go, a shoe in the
mm.
house. So it was a very good one. Thank you.
Okay, so that's what you would say, those are the significant experience you could remember having with your own dad during your own childhood, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
they,
going
they
to,
were. They were. And some also were, I mean, going on a bicycle ride with him. Okay.
okay,
I
so
mean, he take me on the bicycle. So he made, I'll, I'll be on the same bicycle with him. So he made this, carved a small seat, just the rod between his own seat and the pedal. So he's guiding me with his hand and telling me what to do while he's riding. So I remember those very well. I equally remember taking me out to his friends' places. So he would sit me right underneath his feet and put his shin on my head. I enjoyed those moments. They were really good.
okay, so Pastor Sam, over to you. Can you just share with us your own significant memory of your childhood experience with your dad?
Yeah, my dad in his days was a disciplinarian, and he believes you do what I say, no argument. My dad felt he knows, or he knew because it's in the past now, what is good for everybody, and he dictates to us what we all ought to do. And there's no argument about that. He had control over his home. He was a totalitarian, very authoritative. But aside from that, he was a very caring man. He believes it was his responsibility to look after his family. And remember, there are three things my dad used to say that if a man cannot provide those three things, he has no business in marriage: food for his children or his family, accommodation, and health care. So that has stuck in my head as part of the things and went ahead to take on as a man, and when I became a father. So a disciplinarian, a provider. He wasn't too much of a soft dad. I didn't have the privilege of riding bike with my dad. And even up to even up to old age, I can't remember I can't remember if I embraced my dad or he embraced me at any time.
Wow.
And I remember the times my dad would talk to me was maybe when I was sick. He wants to feel my temperature to see, wow, why are you so warm? Or things like that. They just get the number and embrace or hug or something like that. In fact, you'd be scared to want to go too close to him because he was a very, very authoritative person. And I don't know whether he did that deliberately just to think he has control over his own. Oh, like you said, I'm the governor of my house here, and everybody obeys the governor. That was my dad. But everything that he needs to do for you, he will do. And he has also one thing of saying that I want to see any woman who will come to point to me that I helped to raise my children financially. He took care of the financial needs of theirs absolutely and completely. And so that gives him the authority to lead the house the way he wants. That's the dad I grew up with.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you both for at least having let us have a peek into your childhood and your experience of fatherhood. If you want to compare fatherhood, what is called responsibility, because from Pastor Bosun, I could hear at least you had playful experience with your own dad. And I want to believe it's in addition to every other thing that he could have done. At least you had that kind of playful experience, which Pastor Sam clearly did not have. If you want to compare fatherhood in your childhood days to what it is now, do you think it is still similar or is different? And if it is different, do you think it's better or it's gone worse?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that leading question. Um, Maybe I should just add this. I could only recall one time in my entire life that my dad smacked me.
Wow.
Only
Wow.
once in my entire life that I was smacked by my dad. That was it. He he really, I don't know, maybe because at the time I was the youngest. I was his youngest son, so I didn't. I'm not sure if that was it because yeah, that
Maybe
was
your
the only
older
time I
ones have
could.
eaten all this.
They might have a different experience, honestly, altogether. But
Really?
that was my, yeah, that was, they might have a different experience altogether, but that was my, I can only recall only one that my dad ever smacked me.
Mm,
Going to that question, is it getting
yeah.
better?
If you
Uh,
compare
I want
your
to,
time and now that
please.
you are the fathers, yeah.
Mm. One thing I desire to do, seeing my dad or growing up with him at the time, was to better his best. Yes, growing up, I did a bicycle ride with him. He would take me out. Uh, there, he really have a tete-a-tete with me,
Mm,
despite all of those. He really had a one-on-one with me
cooking
to
with
have
you.
a chat. So seeing that in my dad, I felt I don't want to be that.
But you
That's
desired
one
that.
of
Did you desire it or
I
it was
I
later?
deliberately desired that I will be spending time to talk to my children.
Mm,
So seeing that in my dad, again, in spite of the time I had with my dad, good times, I
mm,
could not recall a time when my dad was in my school. I could not recall a time when my dad came
To your
visiting
school.
for whatever, but
Mm,
my mom was always there. So, and in my time as a father, I have been to school. I have been present in the life of my children in their school more
mm,
than I could ever recall.
mm.
Many times I have to be the one to go to their school. I would take time off. I would deliberately make effort and make arrangement to be in my children's school, just to be there for them. Those were the things that I found in my dad that I felt, oh, this weren't good enough. Now, still comparing the times. Uh, my father's time and my time as a father. Um,
Mm,
I did not just want to be. Um, I did not just want to be the provider, which my father was. Apart from the time that we spent together growing up, my father would go out early in the morning, and we would see him until late in the nights. Some of the
yeah.
times we are already in bed when he returns. And on weekends, he spend more time with families and friends.
Yeah. So
See,
I think if I can summarize at least one point that stands out from what you're saying, comparing your own childhood and what fatherhood represent now, it seems as
mm,
if there was not emotional connection then, and some fathers are now making effort to have that emotional connection, even though they didn't enjoy it, they didn't benefit from it. They are now making an effort to have that emotional connection with their own children. Am I correct? That is what
absolutely correct. It's a
good.
conscious effort. Now, this could have gone the other way for some people coming from the same background I came from and becoming a father. But I made that choice and I made that conscious effort to say, I don't want my children to feel the same thing I felt at the time. Some people might uh, take it in a negative way, but I twisted it around to suit my time to say, when I become a father, I want to be there.
Hmm,
Okay, emotionally, I want to be there.
hmm.
Uh, Financially, I want to be there. With my presence, I want to be there. I
Yeah.
want to be there. So that's
Thank you.
that's an effort I had to make on my own. Thank you.
So thank you. I can hear what I hear that is that it requires intentionality, and also because
Correct.
we have people that can easily make an excuse, which is what we find predominantly, that people just run the script they have ever been used to, not
Mm,
not bothering to create their own script, because that's the easiest thing to do. For you
mm,
to create your own script, it requires a lot of effort, but it's easier if all you have ever known is what you are replaying as a father.
mm.
That's the easier way. You are not putting any effort. Thank you for sharing that. And I believe it's going to bless someone that is watching, that these things don't just come. And it's not because we found it there. You were intentional about that. And I think that is commendable. So let's go to Pastor Sam now. Comparing that time in terms of fatherhood, your own experience, and what your own experience is, and maybe generally, do you think it is better now? And if it is better, how? And if it is not better, how?
Okay, if I had to compare fatherhood the way my dad played it, there are some good part of it I took on and I'm running with. First, I believe it is my absolute responsibility to provide as much as it lies within me for my children. Because my dad taught us that if a man cannot provide for his children, he is not what to be called a man. So all of us, the three boys, we grew up together, my brothers, we all had that notion. And so provision for our family and our children is key. The other part is providing direction. In fact, the way my father has structured this out is that you can't disobey him. So when he tells you what to do for your own good, you do it. Because you know, if you deviate from it, the consequences are grievous. In fact, talking about smacking, maybe about 3, 4 times in my life before I grew up, my dad smacked me. But you don't want to even leave the room for the smacking. Because the fact that, you know, they say the the how would I say, the mention of my father's name is the beginning of wisdom in my house. When you are told, I'm going to tell your father when he comes, wisdom will enter your brain. It's straightforward. And you know, you don't want to face this huge giant man. My father was a big man, more than a 6 footer. He weighs about 15 stones, big frame, and his voice will even make you shiver if he has to call you to attention. So I took from him the basic tenets of provision, guidance, and giving direction. But the other part I didn't take was the fact that all the emotional part of me that I have, I would say I got 98% of them from my mom. So it wasn't too emotionally invested. It's not because he doesn't care, but maybe we believe that he needs to carry that face to put all of us on our footing. For instance, I remember when we were younger, I couldn't go to a party on my own. Who even dares you to go and meet my dad? I'm going to a party until after I finish GCSE. So during my A-level days, when I go to parties, my father would sit on the balcony waiting for us to come back. And when he sees we are coming, he has been waiting there. He will just move away from the balcony and go to the sitting room as if he wasn't waiting for you. But he was there waiting for you to come. So I don't know why he masked his emotion in that way. He cared in his heart, but he wasn't showing it. And for us, it was showing the emotion that was the main thing. So looking at fatherhood now, some of us are intentional to be emotional with our kids. Like Pastor Bosun said, in any of my children's school, from even the crèche, from day one in the crèche, I think they knew me or they knew me as their father because I was always there. Either to drop, to pick, to do any other thing, and made that time available. So I can see fatherhood moving away now with men now becoming more engaged than what they enjoy for their parents. But I want to say also that maybe our fathers acted within the knowledge of what they knew, because nobody can do beyond what he knows or what he has been exposed to. And maybe because of modernization and social media and other things, fathers are now becoming more involved. I think I'll stop there for now.
Yeah, thank you for that. And maybe it's going to take me to this question now, because I want to take both of you on a journey, on a memory lane, a recall journey. That when you first knew you were going to become a father, what was the feeling? If you can put those feelings into words. How did you feel? Did it change anything in you? Did you think of anything at all? Becoming a father, you just feel, okay, it's one of those things.
All right. Yeah, becoming a father for me, um, it didn't sink in at first. It didn't actually. It's not something I actually. We living our lives as husband and wife with my wife. But as the pregnancy progresses and reaching maturity, it get dawn on me that somebody is on the way. And as such, the first thing that changed in me was my thought pattern, my psyche. change. It adjusted to accommodate the person that is on the way. So I begin to imagine, okay, how am I? What was it? And how can I? It was a mixed feeling of excitement,
Mm,
becoming a father, and a feeling of, am I up to the task? Am
mm,
I going to do better? And beginning to, those things that I had thought of growing up,
mm,
um, that I liked in men, that are in fathers, those things that I do not like, they begin to come up, and how I wanted to be there
mm,
for my children. So those things were now playing up. So my thought pattern was just the first thing that I begin to change, and working on myself, how to be available, considering the kind of work I was doing at the time. Uh, I was doing a shift work. How am I going to? So I was thinking and juggling a lot of things in my mind. At the same time, I wear a bold face that I'm going to be a father. This is still part of the mixed feeling. I wear that bold face that I'm going to be a father. The joy is equally there for me. That
yeah.
very soon I'm going to be a father. But the amazing thing is, when I became a father, I
Mm.
realized my name changed.
Oh, okay. We are going to come to that. So maybe that might have to do with your cultural,
Yeah,
expression. Yes.
yeah. So, but
Pastor Sam.
those feelings were real. Those feelings
Yeah.
were real.
Yeah.
So, and then it get done on me that I have somebody who is I'm going to be looking after, and somebody who is going to be looking up to me.
Mm.
So I'm beginning to adjust myself, reshape myself, learn, relearn. So many things were going on inside of me. So maybe I had to adjust the way I talk, and they were just
Okay.
coming. They were
All
just
right.
coming. So they were uh, good feelings.
So
Good feelings.
definitely there was a shift. There was a shift in your thought pattern. There was a
Yeah,
shift in the way you now feel you have to start living. There was a shift
exactly.
when
Even
you
in my
knew that.
behavior, even in
Yeah.
my behavior. So it's reflected in every aspect of myself. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very, very much. And for those that are joining us online, that's maybe, well, today, this month has been dedicated to our fathers, to fatherhood. So we're going to be having different conversations. We know that this is not a common occurrence, it's not a common topic that we talk about. And fathers definitely don't come out enough to talk about themselves so that they can actually have a feel of what the expectations are. Are they really meeting the expectations? Because some might feel, well, I'm doing better than my dad, so definitely I'm meeting the mark, but maybe not exactly. So that's why we are here. And today we are talking about fatherhood and identity, how it has affected the challenges they have gone through, and also the rewards, the joys that they have experienced being fathers. And the question that I posed earlier to both of you, which Pastor Bosun has responded to, was how, when you knew that you were going to become a father, how what did it was there any change? What did that do to you, knowing that somebody is coming, that I'm going to be called a father, apart from the change of name? Like Pastor Basil said. So Pastor Sam, can you share with us what was your thought like then? Take us on that memory lane. How many years ago was that, and what was it like? How was that experience for you when you knew you were going to become a father?
Okay, I would say my own experience was different. It was peculiar. I'm peculiar in the sense that after my marriage, we had to wait for some time to begin to procreate and have children. Not because we decided to wait. Okay, the first year we decided to wait to say, okay, we don't want any child now in the first year. Now, I'm married as a pentagon. For some of you, you may not know what we have coined that word pentagon to mean. I married late, a very matured adult. I was out there before I converted, playing around. And before I knew 3 decades and a half have gone in my life. And I realized, oh boy, you're not married yet. And the pressure of marriage came. I got married. Now, to make the thing sweeter, because I don't want to say anything negative about it, because everything, there's a time and season for every event. After getting into marriage, 4 years after, there was no child. So the expectation of being a father was there. There was some anxiety, some, trepidation and worry. So when I knew I was going to become a father, my joy knew no bound. In fact, I could remember the first day I came back from work and my wife showed me the pregnancy test report. And just said, there's something on the bed there for you. It's under your pillow, check it. And I took and I saw. It was like I was singing and I was dancing, but the music wasn't coming out of my mouth, but I knew I was dancing. So it was like, is it going to happen at the end of the day? So from there, my joy knew no bound. And when the baby came, it was like, wow, this is what we've been waiting for. So I couldn't help but get myself consumed, involved, and engrossed in it. And it was like, this one's not going to leave my side for any moment. So I was always there carrying the baby and, things like that. So what it changed for me was that I came from worry to joy, and the joy overspilled. To the extent that even in church, people thought I didn't have a wife or that my wife passed after we had the baby, because the baby was always with me. I carried the baby, I bagged the baby, I went everywhere with the baby, and then the bond developed, and I made up my mind that, okay, if it's going to be this only one that I have, at least nobody will call me barren or call us barren again. And so the attachment was very strong. So
So when
I
so
never knew
basically
that children would come, but I was just so attached to that. I was happy with that. For me, that was just okay for that time.
so basically when you that was your own experience. So
Yes.
yeah, which is interesting anyway. In what ways would you say that your relationship with your own fathers, both of you, has influenced um your identity as a father? Your own relationship, how do you think it has shaped you in your own fatherhood journey? Your own relationship with your father.
Okay. My relationship with my father, like I said, was a dictatorial relationship. My father was the governor of his house. He had control absolutely over his house. So, in my growing up, I didn't like that too much in the sense that we had not too much say and conversation or dialogue with my father. We obeyed. So I felt, well, I wanted something a little bit more democratic, different from just saying this and letting my children obey. I want to hear from them. So I think I tweaked from being absolute dictator to a democratic leader, to involve my children in the say, a democratic leader. And I know what I'm saying when I say I'm a democratic leader to my children. I listen to what they say. Now, I might say this is what I want. And when they come back to tell me, no, this is not the way it is, I listen. I don't want to say, no, that's not it. So, yes, I could still have my way in some things I know that is good for them. Because if
No,
I know,
that you mirror, that you copied from your dad,
no, yeah,
Yeah.
that I know it is good for them. For instance, no child will tell me I don't want to go to school. And I say, I'm going to debate that with you. Okay, don't go to school, go to school. Going to school is a must. You must go to school. Because I knew that was good for you. You will not tell me as a child, okay, you want to go out in the night. I'm going to a party at 12 o'clock when you're not of that age. I won't dialogue that with you. I'll tell you that's a no-go area. So I
Okay.
determine the no-go areas that I know if anything happens, it's not going to only affect them alone, it might mark them, it might give them an experience they will never or may not be able to recover from. So I stand my ground on those areas because I know my
Okay.
dad will stand in those areas in his own days.
So in a way, you mirrored some things because you said you determine things. You determine some things, meaning that it was just your sole decision. It was not a parental joint effort. So in that area, you mirrored some things from your dad. That's what
You
you.
asked me a question
But at the same
about
time,
my dad.
at the
You're
same
not
time,
talking about soul. You didn't ask me about soul parenting or
no, no, no,
co-parenting.
no. You said I determine because I'm just trying to pick on what you just said, that you determine something that you think and you know that are healthy for them or are right for them. That's why I'm trying to I don't know whether you want to rephrase it or that is how it is. That's why I'm saying you mirrored that because of
Yeah,
your
your question you asked me.
the question is just that how has that your experience with your dad shaped your own fatherhood
Yeah,
experience.
and so the way I answered this question because you asked me a specific question. You didn't ask me, does my relationship with my dad or my experience with my dad
Your
was
childhood
like my
experience, yeah,
childhood experience with my dad,
with your dad,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
And like I said, comparing my childhood experience with me and my dad, there's a shift coming from a total
okay,
dictatorial,
all right. Thank
obey rules and follow the rules, to me now being a democratic leader. And I use
okay,
that
thank you.
right. So
Okay,
that's the difference.
thank you very much. So, Pastor Bosson, can you, yeah, the other questions I'm going to be giving, I might not, except you have anything additional to say. I might not be throwing out those questions to both of you at the same time because these are your personal journey. That's why I needed both of you voices to be heard, so that can, we can tap into your experience. So if that question, if you have to respond to it, what would you say? Do you think your experience, how has your childhood experience with your dad, how has it shaped your own fatherhood journey?
Thank you, ma. It My experience with my dad, what it did when I became a dad. Like I said, I had a very good and pleasant experience with my dad. It was he's not authoritarian. He doesn't even say anything. It's like which I try to replicate. Okay, I would say I try to replicate some of the times when I could not get through to my children and I did not want to be upsetting to them or upset myself. I sometimes had to go through my wife in order to get the message sent in. So I think I imagined, because most of the time my mom does the talking. So my dad really say anything. You don't even know what was his mind over issues. The one thing I would say is that I make effort to know the friends of my children.
Mm,
Now, I went to my uncle's place sometimes. One of my cousin, we were classmates in secondary school. We were in the same, we grew up, we were age mates, and that was my dad's immediate elder brother, daughter. So we were mates. So I went to their house one of those days and get into her house because they were all girls in their own house. So on getting to their house, I realized my cousin was sitting outside and a boy was sitting next to her and they were talking. The dad was in the sitting room and they were talking. The dad could hear them from the window, whatever they were saying. And I was like, wow. can I do this? We were age mates. We were in the same class. We grew up. So can I do this? So saying that, I realized my uncle was doing then, I coined it out, was to know the friends that his daughters were keeping.
Mm.
So I took that in and I
Mm.
decided to say, you know what? I want to know the friends of my children. So when they grow up. So what I did was many a times I'm always encouraging my children. He wants to go to his friend's house. I said, okay, that's fine. But please, can you invite them?
Mm.
Don't worry. Invite them. Mommy will make food for you. You'll be in this part. We won't disturb you. But bring them home. I want to know. So that's a shift for me. Seeing, even though my dad would have gone to work, but I saw this in my uncle
Mm.
as a father, making conscious effort to know the friends of his children. So I did the same thing. I practiced the same thing up till tomorrow.
Mm.
I'm making effort to know my children's friend. I just want to know them. Now, I'm not going to interfere in whatever they had to say. I may be overhearing them. And when they are gone, I know where to pick on my son and say we can have a conversation. I'm not going to be specific about what they said, but it gives me a clue what conversation goes on among them, and I'm able to converse with him based on that. Those things that needed to be taken out and those things that needed to be added to whatever they have said in my own way. So it's a
Mm.
conscious effort I made. My dad, I don't think my dad knew my friend. I don't think
Okay.
so because one is not
So,
always around.
okay. So, in a way, you would say, because even from what you have shared now,
Hmm.
you cannot say that your experience with your dad did not influence you, because he said something. He said your dad wouldn't say anything.
No,
And I think, yeah, yeah, though you make attempts to say things, to be very intentional and very active, but at the same time, because you saw your mom more of the one that would talk to you when you were young, right? You too, in a way, you took a bit of that. So I'm just trying to what I'm trying to do with the two of you is to say that there's still some bits that you took, because you said
definitely.
there are some things that you would rather go through your wife to talk to. So because, and the way you explained that was that because your mom was the one that was always talking to you guys. So in a
Hmm.
way, you mirrored, maybe not as much, of course.
Yeah,
You mirrored a little bit of how your
I
experience.
actually
Yes.
did. I actually did. Man, I see it as a good thing because at the point when I may not be happy with certain action, rather than show a reaction. If I
Mm,
go through their mom and express how I felt, she can
mm.
help to pass the message across. So
It's not a
because
bad
I
thing.
don't
I'm not.
want,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I took from my dad, definitely. And the other
Okay.
thing I took from him was the fact that he wouldn't say anything. But today, I think sometimes my children will say, "You
You talk so
this man we talk,
much.
this man we talk."
Which is
So, yeah, definitely.
which is good. It's good reflecting on that kind
Yeah,
of.
so just going the opposite of what I saying that okay, my dad won't say anything, but I will find a way around it to make a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what
Yeah.
I believe I took from there because I felt him not talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's not the best as far as I can see it.
Yeah.
So I
From your
rather
experience.
want to know what he felt about my action. Even when I bring my school results home,
Mm.
my dad will still not say anything.
So
He will look at
what
it.
I
He will look at it, he will read it, and he will keep it in his drawer.
And that's
I
it.
know it. Yeah,
And
he
that's
keeps
it.
it in his drawer. So we're looking for it. He will bring it out to you again. But whether it's good, I'm doing well academically at the time, but
Mm,
as in, I've had parents, I mean, I've had from fathers in the past who say,
mm.
oh, why don't you get a full mark here? Or why don't, but my dad wouldn't even say any of those. He
Wow.
won't. He
Really?
won't. He won't. He won't.
Your
But
your
for
your
me,
your type of that was rare.
it's
It's
so
rare.
he is so
Even
it is a good man that is so quiet,
wow.
too quiet, and I would say too quiet, maybe for my liking. And I
Mm,
felt like, you know what, I do not want to be this quiet. I mean, today my son is doing well academically. I still have
mm,
one or two inputs in
mm.
what he has done and what he hasn't done, which he can do better. So
Yeah.
that's what I chose.
Okay, okay. Before we go into asking the next question from both of you, I just want to share this scripture because that will prepare us for what we're about to talk about. That's in the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2 to 4, where it talks about challenges. Let me just paraphrase and read somewhere. So consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Basically, telling us that even in all our challenges, those challenges that we face, maybe because it's that they are new experiences to us, or they are opposite to what we are used to, and we are trying to do the opposite, which we think it's better and it's more empowering and it's progressive. And because of that, they look like challenges to us. So in your both for both of you, in your fatherhood journey and fatherhood experience, would you say that you've experienced challenges? And if you've experienced challenges, because we want us to be very real, these are real talks, even though we are Christians, because we want real talks. If there have been challenges, how did you go about your challenges? Like I said earlier, challenges might be, this is a new terrain for me. I've never seen this done before because of the people I lived with. So it's like I'm creating my new path. So definitely it might be challenging for some people, and it might not be so challenging. So could you please share with us maybe the most significant challenges that you have faced as a father, that is in your fatherhood journey or experience? And yes, anybody can start, please.
Okay, I think my most significant challenge as a father I faced was always trying to think ahead to say, okay, if my children leave this phase of life, they are going to the next phase. How do I meet that next phase? Because I like to plan ahead. I don't like things coming upon me suddenly. So I begin to work things around my head to say, okay, how do I do this? When they are maybe when they're in the crèche, you start thinking of, okay, the primary school, what kind of school are they going to go to? How do I get the finances to cope with this? What are the things it takes? So it throws a lot of things around my head, particularly when you know that the next phase will require more than what you have now or your capability now. So it start making you to want to think out of the box. How do you catch up with all of this? So that's quite a challenge, and sometimes it could keep me awake. And again, I happen to have a wife who wants good things. She'll tell you, okay, rather than your rather than the children go to this school, why not let us let them go to this school? And we could be challenging. And maybe it's a blackmail or hand twisting to say, is it that you don't want your children to be better than you? And so that puts you under some constraint or pressure to want to live to that, because one thing I've known is that women will not use that to go and tell the children, either you like it or not. This was what I planned for you. Your dad was the one that didn't make it happen. So I'll just put that behind my mind, okay? So that thing, that kind of statement will not come up. I may not really like it or buy the idea completely, but because I don't want that statement to come up, either now or in the future, I jump on it and I work myself out to the extent of getting the thing solved. Now, it's not as if suggesting that my wife wouldn't have thought about the way through it, but the challenge it still brings that it puts some pressure on me to want to catch up with that suggestion so that it doesn't come back thrown at me to say you prevented this from happening. And I have a series of examples
Okay.
if I have to give the examples.
So let's that's financial. So you would say that in your fatherhood journey, and especially as you said that you transited from a autocratic fatherhood to democratic, there was no, everything was just smooth apart from the financial challenge.
No, it wasn't just smooth. It took some things, out of me not to be completely, not to be autocratic, because I grew up with that to say, look, when I say things, what I say is final.
Yeah, those are the things we want you to share because
Yeah.
we want people to learn from
Oh,
this.
okay, yeah. I just
Yeah,
share because I don't want to take all the time. That it
yeah.
took something for me to say, okay, what I say is final. For instance, if I tell my children to do a particular thing and I can give me a superior argument to why it shouldn't be, I will listen. I didn't have the opportunity, my father, to be dialoguing with him to say, I have a better opinion. In fact,
So,
there's a phrase we use in
so did
Africa.
that take a toll on you?
Yeah,
Just
it took a toll. It took a
that's
toll because, yeah, it
how.
took a toll because you have to now admit and hit the humble pie to say, okay, maybe what I said before wasn't right. Not many men will eat the humble pie, particularly coming from where I came from, that my father will say it and that is it. But I will still go back to say, oh, okay, maybe what this child said is correct too. And when I find it's correct, okay, what you said the other time, I think is correct. Let's take that way. So I'll eat the humble pie to accept that. So it took a lot of things from me, taking what people call their manliness away to say like, you could succumb to other people's opinion. So that's quite some toy. It took some toy away from me. And when I know it's not going to hurt, I'll leave it to say, okay, let it be. And if it works out very well, the next time they tell me that, I'll rely on the president of what he's done before to say, okay, at least this person has said this before, this child has said this, and it worked out this way. Let me give you the benefit of the doubt and listen.
Okay.
Right.
So that would be the major challenge you would say that you faced in fatherhood when you compare it to the journey of where you are coming from, comparing
Yes.
the last generation to this current generation. Your own challenge, the only challenge that you would say, or the two challenges that you would say, is that of maybe financial pressure, and which I think it would still be similar because from the experience you shared with us, your dad was the sole financier and all that. So
Yep.
clearly, you two must have felt some financial pressure at some point. So that was similar. But the fact that you had to shift your should I say leadership experience or fatherhood experience from autocratic to democratic, it might not be fully democratic, but at least to you, compared to where you're coming from,
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
it's
Oh yeah, of course, of course. And like I said, my father
so,
was the governor of his house. You don't argue with my father.
that's what we are saying.
Right.
Autocratic, so in I don't know
Yeah.
what the style that will. This one is still more, not as autocratic as that one. So that emotion, that change, it challenge, like it's like you are somebody's challenging your authority when you have to dialogue with your own children. But would you say that has yielded a positive outcome in
Oh
terms
yes,
of
of course.
your
Of course.
relationship with your children?
Of course. Like my children knows, how will I put it now, that they can dialogue with me, they can say things. There's one particular one among them, I will just keep that to myself, and those who know knows that this person can get things from me when you sit down to dialogue with me to say, okay, Dad, let's look at it this way. And I will listen. In those days, I won't be bold to go to my dad's room to say, Dad, let's look at it this way. There's a phrase they use in Africa, who dash your monkey banana? That will be bold to go and meet my father to say, let's, he will ask you, did you drink before you came, or somebody gave you alcohol, or you passed through the breweries that the hold of came into your head? But me, he will ask you, did you smell beer before you came?
But
but
we all know the outcome of such parenting or such, yeah, such fatherhood. They didn't particularly give any, not that they didn't give any positive outcome. It's most of the children that came from were not, I wouldn't say they were very, in terms of emotional sound and mental wellness, they're not sound because of that experience. So, and your generation, or this our current generation, we expect that we are doing better, I hope. you know but of course, it's the children that will be, they are our assessors, because the way we are assessing, or we have assessed our parents, is the children that can really assess us. And at some point, I don't know if it is going to be possible, even this month, I want to actually bring some children on the live stream, so that they talk about their experience and what they think we can do better, or what fathers can do better, since this month is dedicated to fathers. Yeah. Thank you very much, Pastor Sam. So over to you, Pastor Bosun. What
Thank
would
you.
what would you
Uh,
say, yes, are the
the,
challenges, or any challenge that you say that, because especially from the experience you've told us, you had to do so many other things, and you thought good things that from other people, that you decided that, I'm going to do this, I'll prefer to enjoy this that I didn't enjoy. Was it challenging?
right. Since I had made up my mind that this is how I want to live, yes, it is challenging. It is challenging in the sense that I have to do what I call a balancing act, balancing my schedule, my personal schedule as a father to be there in order, for example, I mentioned knowing my friend and my children's friend.
Mm,
So I have to juggle my time and encourage those. And I said my dad is not much of a talker, and I have to make effort to find something to say to my children.
mm,
Even when there's nothing to say, I have to make effort deliberately. If we are sitting and they're just sitting in front of me, uh, we strike up a conversation with them.
mm,
It could be what they were watching. It could be what they were doing. It could
mm,
be what has happened that came up to mind. I'll just strike up that conversation. It's an effort,
mm,
and it can be challenging not to get on the wrong side of these children, making sure that you're towing that part, because this is something I didn't grow up with, and I want to do it.
mm,
I want to have that relationship, emotional relationship with my children. I want to be there. I want to know what is going on in their mind per time, what they're thinking, or what I am thinking. Sometimes we all have our past, though.
sure, sure,
So I
sure.
can see myself in them. I can see what they were doing, and I know that this is me in these children. And if they were not good, I strike up,
Mm,
I bring up that conversation. It's an effort, it is challenging.
mm,
Sometimes some things I felt, we all have our ideal family
mm,
growing up. So
Yeah.
some inadequacies on my part to be able to say, okay, I know this, I want to pull them through. And
Mm.
talking about my children's education, like I said earlier, I realized my mom is the one. I mean, she's always there for me in school and all the rest of that. And my wife happens to be very good with schools and the kind of school that they go. So it's like I do not want to leave everything to her.
Mm.
So the moment she brings it to table, I want to be engaging
Very involved.
and
Yeah.
involved. So these were challenging things for me. So when
Mm.
she's saying it, I may not know as much as she does, but
Mhm.
I will definitely make contributions,
Effort. Yeah.
tangible contributions
Mm.
to say, I now have an idea. Because I remember when she came up with the idea, oh, this is the kind of school that they should go. And I was like, listen, I went to Jehovah Shalom. And this is me today. I can stand in the society. Wherever school they go, look at them. They are in the
That's
West. Wherever school they go, they should be okay. That's my thought. Until she said, no, schools are this, schools are that. And and then I told that part. And that's one thing. Because the
Mm.
African in me may not want to tell the part that my wife is kind of leading the path. But I felt if she knows better
Mm.
and we want the best for these children, let me do that part.
Mm.
Let me, all I can do is to energize that part,
Mm.
learn more, support it, and make it better.
Mm.
That's what I meant by energizing the part that
Mm.
she knew better than myself. So
So
that's what I do, and it can be very challenging. So I tried
yeah.
as much as possible, intentionally balancing my art,
Okay.
my
Thank you
personal
very much.
space. Mm.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think from what I hear from you, it's more as if you have to really step outside your comfort zone to kind of learn or unlearn because you were not used to practice some things. And you
Mm.
did mention something about the African nest that is inside of you. So maybe you have to unlearn the African nest and learn the godliness because I don't know what it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I say, and that is where it comes to being democratic and autocratic. I am
Yes.
open to learning. And that
Mm.
is the natural me. If you can present it, I want to listen to it. I want to be challenged, and I will challenge that thought. It's not something I take in hook, line, and sinker. I challenge the thought so that we all, I believe, we should be on the same
Same
page.
page. Yeah.
And to be
Absolutely.
on the same page, when you made a presentation, I challenge your thought, and then with challenging your thought is me trying to learn
Mm.
what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
not
you.
challenging to discard.
Yeah. It
It's
is, yeah, it's
challenging for
it's to make
me.
it make sense for everybody so that we all
Yes,
yeah. Yeah.
exactly. I'm not challenging it in order to discard it. No, 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 no. I'm challenging it to say, okay, we fine tuning it. So
Mm.
whatever we need to sieve and remove and add to it, we're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask this, but I think it's only Pastor Sam that might, because I think you've touched on it when you were talking, and that is on how do you, because some men find it very challenging, and how do you balance work, personal time, and fatherhood, making time to do those daddy duties? How do you balance them to balance your work, your personal time, and fatherhood? Pastor Sam.
Okay, to me, I believe as a father, one of my roles is to be there in the life of my children.
Mm.
I've tried to do that as much as possible.
Yeah.
All through from elementary stage up to now, there's no school of my children that have not been involved to the extent that the school will call me to even be part of something, either the part of PTA or become a school governor and that. I know all of my children's teacher from the kindergarten, even up to A levels. If they have allowed me in the university, I would have known all of them. I know some of them by name. I would have known all of them by person. I think I'm that involved.
That hands-on, yeah. So
Yes.
how do you balance this
Yes.
time?
But
Because
what I try to do is this: I choose the kind of job that will give me room to do that,
Mm.
that will give me flexibility to do that. I remember when I first came to this country, I couldn't walk beyond Greenwich, all because the children need to go to school and to be picked up. And their mom was going to work in London. Somebody must be there. That even during work, I come to drop them at home, give them lunch, and still then run back to work to go and close. So I chose the kind of work that will give room for that so that I can be there. Okay. Again, if I need to make a sacrifice, even as we are talking now, if any of my children, one is not at home now, and this person calls me now to say, Dad, can you get to my school at 11 now that I need to travel? Barring any other thing, I will go because I believe that is my duty to do. So I try to make sure that the things I do will not impinge in my father's role, in my fatherly role to my children. In fact, I would say they are top priority to me that every other thing can wait.
okay.
Right.
All right, thank you very much. So, Bravo, Pastor Boston, let me now ask this question just for you now. What role do you think, or maybe let me just ask, do you think that your faith plays a role in helping
Wow.
you overcome those challenges that you have shared with us earlier on? Is it your faith or just your personal resolute?
Hmm.
And if your faith plays a role, let us know how. And if it's just your personal resolute, let us just know how as well.
Okay. Um, Faith plays a major part in all of this, but
Mm,
I must also put on record that my personal resolution, decision, and action is not found wanting at all.
mm,
In other words, growing up, there are certain things that you love and you don't like. So bringing that in to faith or bringing faith into those because my personal resolution possibly precede my faith because I grew up to know, accept Christ as my Lord and personal Savior. But then there are certain decisions that has formed me over the years.
mm,
So
mm.
faith for me is a shock absorber because there is going to be shock along the line,
Yes, yes.
unexpected shock. Faith for me is an enabler. Whatever I had resolved to do and plan, faith enabled me to carry them out.
Mm, mm,
Faith for me is inspirational, is
mm,
instruction, is an example of what and how a father should be. Because I realize that every child, okay, like I said, that sometimes I see myself in my children. Oh, wow, this part you're towing, I have been there before you. So once I see that, so because every child has that tendency of deviating from what is been carved out to them by families, but where they grew up. So it's important. And having the faith that I had. I mean, I read my Bible. Um, I realized there's this story in the Bible. The story of the prodigal son. So when a child deviates, Someone said, is he a prodigal son or a prodigal father? Because even the father shouldn't have squandered the money, giving him that lot to go and
Mm,
squander. So they
mm.
are both prodigal, spending anyhow. So, and the point I'm trying to make here is when they deviate, how do we bring
Yeah.
them back to line? So faith has helped me that
Okay.
there's always a room for correction. There's
Yeah.
always a room
Mm,
whereby for forgiveness,
yeah.
to let go of what they have done, because we have a lot of time to spend together,
Mm,
and it's also short at the same time.
mm.
So when
Okay.
we fight, we must be ready to make up. Faith
Okay.
had taught me also, okay, that we
Mm-hmm.
should be ahead of our children. I
Mm.
think Pastor Sam
What does,
mentioned it.
okay, what does
Thinking
that mean?
ahead. Thank
Okay.
you. Thinking ahead. Thinking ahead. Imagine the next level,
Mm,
what they are likely to do.
mm,
There's no need to shy away from the fact that your children at a point, we grew up with, they have affection.
mm.
So taking time to talk about it is better than shying away from it.
Okay.
As a
Okay.
father and a father of boys, to say, I deliberately make that conscious effort
Mm,
to talk them through everything I am imagining in my head that
mm,
could be happening to them. One of them is in the uni by the grace of God. And I imagine the freedom, even up to money spending, how they spend their money. At the
mm.
moment, my wife is taking them and I'm joining them. That things they would not teach you at school.
Yeah.
And one of the topic on subtopic there says getting rich slowly. You don't want to get to the point whereby until you earn six figures that you start
Okay.
saving slowly.
So invariably your faith as a Christian has really helped you in this fatherhood journey, especially in navigating or
It,
mitigating against those challenges that you have
yes,
faced.
yes,
Thank
it
you
has
very
helped me seriously. And I did not shy away from the fact that sometimes they
much.
need discipline. They need discipline. It is only the child that the father loves that he will chastise, that he will discipline. It truly, because I was once with the youth church, and one of the children or one of the youths said on the day by them, they were the ones speaking, and she said, I could recall very vividly that being strict and discipline is part of love, is a
The
way to
Bible
show
says it.
love.
The Bible says
Is
that the Lord, the Father chastises the child that He loves. Yeah.
yes. So it's a way to show love to them. You want to show love to them, you must be ready to discipline them. And no
Okay.
discipline, no
Okay.
chastisement is
Okay.
pleasant when it's going
Okay.
on. So there will be that time, challenging time, where
Mm,
we it's like we quarrel.
yeah.
But
Thank you
there is
very much.
that room for forgiveness and openness.
Is
Thank you.
always there. Yeah. So I'm now going, we are going to getting closely to rounding up because I know it's not going to be a very, it cannot, it's difficult for us to have this as a short conversation, But we've talked about the challenges, we've talked about the changes, generational changes in fatherhood journey and experiences. We can't say everything is gloomy. We can't say everything is just responsibility that we have to do this, I have to do that. So it will be good to talk about the joy, celebrating the joy in fatherhood. So, and from both of you, if you are going to share with me just one experience, for instance, that you will say that, oh, this is one thing that it's memorable. It's a memorable moment for me, that you had
Mm.
with your child and brought you immense joy. Just one experience. I know you guys, you both might have loads, but just give me one because of our time, that,
Oh,
and this is like, oh, this is my joy moment. I can see that, yes, all the effort. We know there are some fathers that they don't do much, but on the day of joy and everything, they are the one that show off most. So, but what we want to you both to share with us is more like the reward of fatherhood, reward of active, intentional fatherhood. So, Pastor Sam, just one experience, and Pastor Bosutu, one experience.
I don't think I have one particular experience I will pick up because there are several experiences that are substantial and life changing for me. For instance, maybe I said the first time of being a father is one experience I can never forget.
Mm.
Coming from where I've been declared medically that I can't father a child, and not just me, and that my wife too cannot bring forth a child. So one great experience was the birth of our first child. That at the end of the day, this could be is a joy I can never live out of. Okay. Now
Okay.
thinking of the last one too is a joy I can't live out of because seeing a child being born, being engaged to the extent of coming, and the mother said, "I'm tired. I'm not going to push again. I'm tired, or I don't want to push." And at the end of the day, she was able to push out, and the baby came, and it was like,
That's not
"Whoa!"
the, that's not the joy of fatherhood. That would be the joy of the mother that did the work, not the
But
father.
the mother didn't know what was happening there.
Yeah, but she.
She didn't know. She didn't know what was happening there. Or if she knew, why should she be saying that? I'm tired. I'm not pushing again. I'm not going to push again. But me, I was there. I've seen the head of the baby engaged. The person was able to push again. Was able to push out what was okay. It was like God Almighty. So this baby
Okay.
came at the end of the day. So that's why I said they are numerous that I can forget.
mm,
So those are
Okay.
yeah.
landmark joy, for me that I can't forget.
Yeah, thank you
Truly,
for yeah.
eh,
Go ahead,
tru- tru-
Pastor.
truly, you cannot. You may say that is the joy of motherhood, but it's telling you how he felt, right? I'll tell you one or two of mine, but I'll make it short. Now,
Yeah,
the one I will never forget
yeah.
was, I mean, being there when my wife was putting to bed at her of our first child, and they said to my wife, "Your head on your shoulder, and then your shin on the, and then you push." Guess what? I was doing exactly the same thing while I was standing there. I was doing that.
Oh my God.
I got home. My neck is like I need braces for my neck. Uh,
Without carrying
and
pregnancy, without,
yeah,
we can
yeah,
imagine.
yeah. So that is the joy, is that the emotional attachment that whole bundle of joy is coming to life. It's wonderful. And I want to share this also of
Okay.
many that I experienced. I remember we were living at a block of flat then, and in one of the high-rise building. And my son, I had dressed up. We were going to church. My son had dressed him up. He was in the sitting room. So we're now waiting for the mom. So, and then I was pacing up and down in the sitting room, pacing up and down. I put my hands in my pocket and becoming impatient at the
Mm,
point. Then, as I looked around, I saw a switch,
mm,
an electrical switch, and I need to switch it off. So I didn't want my son to see what I was doing. So I used my feet to just switch it off. Guess what? My son will put his hand in his pocket. He was pacing up and down like I was doing. And then He saw me use my feet to do something. He didn't know what I did. He went there and he used his feet to do whatever. It was, I mean, this is how they learn. They
Mm,
learn through our actions. So that taught me on that day that whatever I'm doing, this
mm.
guy are watching me.
They're
They're watching.
watching.
They're seeing my
Mm,
action and reactions. And
mm.
indirectly or directly, they're taken out of it.
That's a
And
lot.
yeah, it's a
Mm.
great joy. Yeah, it's a
And
great
it's
joy.
a great joy, and it's also a great lesson
Yes.
for fathers to know that whether you're intentional, you're not intentional, you're passive, you're not active, or either you're passive or you are active, you are training that child to be exactly what you're doing.
Hmm.
That is what that is that lesson that I can draw from that story that you just shared about your son.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that is, I think with that, we know that that means there is huge responsibility on us if we understand what that meant. Meaning
Hmm.
that you are shaping another life, and you might be shaping another life not to be a healthy person in a relationship, and you might be shaping a life also to be healthy, whichever one that you are mirroring that child. So we need to take this very, very seriously. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing. Before we go, because we are going to go, and I'm going to ask one of you, so that you are prepared, you're going to pray for fathers, that maybe for whatever one reason or the other. We don't have so many talks on fathers, and it's good for them to know. And if there's anybody that is watching this and you know of any father, please share this live stream, this video, with them. And we are going to be having similar conversation every Thursday at 8 p.m. throughout the month of June. So please, on this channel, if you have not subscribed, you can subscribe and click the notification button so that you get notified whenever we come on live. I want you to share tips. Because we don't have so much time, just 1 or 2 tips each that you're going to share. Because I want to assume the way I would speak for mothers, I can't speak for fathers like that. But I want to make an assumption, but I want you to affirm this assumption. I know with mothers, we don't joke with when we don't have an experience. When you see a new mother is looking for other people to talk to. I don't know. I think it's foreign for me. I don't see fathers do that. Maybe you do, but that's one of those things I want you to, when you are sharing your tips, that I want to. Women have toolboxes. Women will go to seminars. Women will look for books to read and things like that. But you hardly find fathers doing that, because most fathers in particular, or most men, just feel, I know how to do it. What is it? What is in it? And most of the time, it is not a perfect mirror that they are going to be replicating. So I want you to share with people that might be new fathers watching, or there might be fathers, but maybe still clueless, or maybe not even clueless, but they're facing challenges. What are the resources that you would say that you used? And when you are sharing those resources, maybe toolboxes or whatever, please give them tips on how to continue and to encourage fathers on this fatherhood journey as we celebrate you all this month. So I will start with Pastor Bosun now.
All right. Thank you. The tips I can give to all fathers. What is it that you like in fathers that you have experienced?
Mm,
Make good of it and make it better.
mm,
Make good of it and make it better. Those things that you like. And those things that you do not like in fathers you have seen. Please do not dwell on the negative. Please do not dwell on the negative. All you can do at this point is to take strength out of those weaknesses.
Mm.
Take strength out of those weaknesses that you have seen in fathers, whether your own father, whether fathers around you. Please, it's very important. The second tip I'm going to share tonight is that, for example, I'm an hand-on dad, hand-on father. I cook, I wash plates, I sweep. I swept to the fact that someone looked at me and said, it's like this is my hobby to sweep. So I'm always, because rather than most of the time calling somebody to come and do it, I'll
Mm.
do it for them to see. So be seen, be heard, be available. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. That is so loaded. So, Pastor Sam.
Yeah, what I would say, first of all, I want to debunk the myth that you said that fathers don't read or don't invest or something. The way women do our things, most of the time may not be visible to you guys, to you women particularly. For instance, you hardly see a father do something and come out and make an announcement about it. We are a bit more quiet to something. Believe this thing, well, I've done it and I'm doing it for my good. Why do I need to announce it? So that's one of the things. For instance, you hardly see a father tell the children that the money your mom used to buy you that dress, I gave your mom that money. We'll not say anything. We just do things to think these are responsibility, I will move on. But I think one of the things I need to say is that one of the tools, fathers should be more outspoken. Be more outspoken. Speak out when you need to speak out. We try to internalize things or say it doesn't really matter. The truth will manifest. It's not all of the time the truth will manifest. And if you are not too lucky to find a partner who will let your children know you are playing a role, particularly when you are not there, you'll not be there to speak for your children because they could have taken up a wrong narrative. So speak up, get engaged, and speak about your feelings. Also, some fathers don't want to talk about their pains because they see it like a weakness to talk about your pains. When you feel pain,
Is that a tip that
yeah,
you're
when,
giving?
yeah, speak about your pains. If
To
something,
who? Okay.
to your family, particularly to your,
Okay.
if your children are doing things to hurt you, tell them, oh look, this thing doesn't work right. I don't think it's right this way. Let us look at it this way. Speak, then be available. Don't be an absentee father. Don't let it
Mm.
be that Parents' Day or Father's Day or whatever day is school, it's your wife that goes. PTA, your wife that goes. You don't know the school of your children. Some fathers don't even know the way to the school of your children. Be involved. Go to school. Go to PTA. Participate in sports. When there's a father's race, go there and run. Don't be too posh to want to run. Let your children know they matter to you and that you are there for them. And you don't
Mm.
know the reward you get from this later because there'll be a time you will need them and they may not have time for you the way you don't have time for them now. So things might reverse. So what you don't want your children to do to you at old age, don't do it now. Don't be absent now when they need you, so that they will not be absent to you when you need them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. But yeah, I because it will be good for fathers or men or even women that might be watching this live stream or this video afterwards to know, because I hear Pastor Sam says, "Oh, because they are not loud or they don't make their thing open." It is when you do things outside your family that is open. Inside your family, there's nothing like you're making it open. If you know, if they know, if you do it, people, I think they will know. It's not something you have to go and hide to do, because it's not something that you are competing to do. How much? So you can't say, okay, I'm going to. You don't need to know what I am doing to equip myself. After all, when you in your office or secular work, when you have to do those things. You don't hide to do it. So why would it be hiding to do when it has to do with family empowerment or fatherhood empowerment or men or husband empowerment? There's no need to do that. If you can be upfront with the secular, maybe that's where that assumption comes from. And like you said, that most men are not very verbal or outspoken. It is not a strength. Maybe many people don't understand that it is not a strength not to be like that, and that is why you can easily give room for misconception. And the fact that, because if you do stuff, the children would see it. The person that goes to the school with the child or the children, you don't need anybody to announce it, because all these things are actions. People, they will see it. Because I don't want us to be mirroring or playing out that, oh, there are some people that men are. I'm not saying men, they are good fathers, but that's why we are coming. We want to be talking about men and their challenges. Women are very vulnerable, can be very vulnerable. They will tell you about their wins, they will tell you about their challenges. But I think from our part, and even in the kingdom, men struggle to talk about their challenges as if they don't exist, and women will not say it on your behalf. And maybe that's the bit that men are not, but it's not going to be said on your behalf. You have to come out and say it, because they will say theirs. But unfortunately, most of the time when women are even saying theirs, you people say women are talking too much, not knowing that it is you that you are playing out your weaknesses, because you cannot be exactly like that. And that is the healthy way to do it. You air it so that people can understand that the pressure that the society, even the kingdom, is putting on men, may not be healthy. I don't want to say it's unhealthy. May not be healthy, so that we can have realistic expectations from fathers, realistic expectations also from husbands. So I think it is good for us to talk about it in a positive and progressive manner. I really appreciate both of you coming out, because I know it is not easy for you men to come and talk, and that's what we are trying to break. And even if it is going to take the women to bring you out to start doing the talking, we are going to we will be doing the you will be doing the talking. And I know a lot of men will be blessed when you do this. I would have loved, but I don't know whether you have any toolbox or any resources you want to share with men, so that it's not just your talk or our talk. Are there things that you can refer men to so that they can empower or equip themselves? Because especially for those that might be struggling. Does
Yeah,
anyone?
I think
Yeah.
there's a book I would recommend to fathers to read, right? The Father, the Dad, and the Super Dad.
Mm,
It's a book, Father, Dad, and Super Dad. And it's the author, I'll get the name now before I finish, was trying to distinguish between the three, that they are
okay.
not the same. Anybody can be a father,
Okay.
biologically. A dad is somebody who actually is a caregiver
A
who gave
dad, a father, and a super dad, right?
dad. Yeah,
Yeah.
dad, father,
Okay,
and a
that's
super dad.
one book.
Yeah,
Okay.
where do you, what do you want to be then?
Mm,
Some people just say I'm a father, that's all.
mm,
Then I'm a dad. And they said the word dad is a simple three-letter word for a big job.
mm,
Then the super
okay.
dad is another level that we
Mm,
get to. So men should move away from just being fathers only, because anybody can father a child. You should be there, a dad, be present, be the caregiver, more than that. And a super dad is going beyond far and above. You see, this song we normally say they sing during um, Father's Day celebration, where they celebrate Father. If you know the story behind the Father's Day celebration, the man
which
that,
song?
the celebration, Father's Day, the man
Okay.
that brought about the Father's Day celebration was a super dad,
Okay. So
right?
that's one resource that
Yes,
you're recommending
yes,
for
men.
fathers out
Yeah.
there. Yeah. And even if there are women that are out there, if you can look for that book, and maybe it's a useful gift for this Father's Day for fathers. And if anybody can gift the fathers, maybe even churches, if there's anybody, you can actually buy and gift it to the fathers. But hopefully it will be guaranteed that they will read it. Like I said, that's the general feeling, that most of the time they don't read anything that has to do with relationship. It's only the academics that men read, and sorry, their business or career that they read. But when it comes to family relationship, because maybe they haven't gotten role model around them, and we want to encourage a lot of fathers, because the potential is there for people to do better if they know better. So thank you very much. Can we ask Pastor Sam to just pray for us as we close? For all fathers, pray for the fathers that might be watching, or that, yeah.
Father, we want to thank you for this time in your presence. We want to thank you for this opportunity and this platform. We want to thank you for the things we have been able to share, and some other things in our mind we can't share. We pray you give us another opportunity, even to be able to go and them, display them in our houses and in our homes in the name of Jesus Christ. I commit all fathers unto your hands, O Lord. I pray, King of Glory, Father, Lord, that you transit us away from just being fathers, make us dads. Lord, as we desire, carry us to be super dads. Let us be there, O Lord, Father, Lord, and give us the grace and the resources to play the role of a father, a dad, and a super dad as you give us time in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Every father that is struggling now, O Lord, in whatever way, Father, make a way for them and make them true fathers, like you are a great father to us. For the Bible says you supply all of our needs according to your riches in glory. Give us that same opportunity to tap into that covenant, to be able to supply all the needs of our homes and our children, financial, spiritual, material, in Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for joining us, and for those that are going to watch this replay. So next week at 8 o'clock, hopefully we'll be able to stick to between 1 hour and 1 hour, 1.5 hours next week, depending on the conversation. So we'll meet with you. So bye.